This week on ANN, the Adventist Church in Germany reacts after a racially motivated shooting in Hanau, Germany.
Young people in Brazil speak out against alcohol consumption during Carnival.
And a new study guide based on biblical principles is introduced in the United States.
These stories and more coming up. Thank you so much for joining us this week.
First, in the news, Germany and the world was saddened by a racially motivated attack that took place in the city of Hanau on February 19. The attack left 11 people dead, including the victim and his mother.
The shootings were centered around two shisha bars in immigrant areas of the city. 5 of the victims were Turkish citizens.
In light of the attacks, the Adventist Church in Germany released a statement expressing their sadness at the attacks. The statement says, in part, the president of the Seventh-day Adventist Church in Germany, Werner Dullinger, is stunned by a racially motivated terrorist attack that ended with 11 dead in the city of Hanoi just a week ago. There's no rational explanation for such a hideous act. As a church, we react with shock, horror, and lack of understanding to this brutal and inhumane event in Hanoi. Our prayers and compassion go to the victims and their families.
The statement also expresses the Adventist Church's unity in mourning with the relatives of the victims and sincere hope the survivors receive the support and help they need to process the trauma.
The statement goes on to say, as Christians, there must be no place for anti-Semitism, xenophobia, or misanthropy. The great ethnic and cultural diversity is part of our image as a worldwide church. Everyone, regardless of who they are, is a human being in the image of God. Their life and integrity must be respected and protected.
To read the full statement, visit news.edu.adventist.org.
Carnival, a festival held around the world just before the religious observation of Lent, is often characterized by the large amount of alcohol participants consume. This year, Adventist young people are encouraging them to stay away from liquor. Zero alcohol, stay alive is promoted by the Adventist College of Campo Grande, located in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. On February 20, professionals were on campus to give lectures, demonstrations on traffic laws, and talk about the consequences when the rules are violated. The idea came when teachers met to discuss alcohol consumption by teenagers and the number of traffic accidents caused by drunk drivers. According to one of the creators of the project, Professor Christiane Silva, the objective is to raise awareness and alert not only the students, but also the population about the use of alcohol, especially by drivers. According to the report by the World Health Organization, drunk driving and speeding are the main causes of accidents among young people. During the presentations, the students also heard stories of people who suffered from or caused an accident as a result of drunk driving. After the presentations and activities, the students met with the team from Operation Lea Seca and went to the streets of the neighborhood to share what they learned. The young people brought posters and pamphlets with messages about the harmful effects of alcohol and the importance of respecting life.
International Media Evangelism Ministry, It Is Written, has partnered with Advent Health, a faith-based nonprofit health system, to develop study guides for groups interested in learning about health from a biblical perspective. The Creation Life Study Guides incorporate Advent Health's whole person health philosophy in welcoming an easy-to-remember approach based on the Creation Life framework. The Creation acronym stands for choice, rest, environment, activity, trust in God, interpersonal relationships, outlook, and nutrition. Over the years, Advent Health has developed an array of whole person health materials that have been used by a variety of institutions, congregations, and ministries. When Advent Health got the call for this opportunity, the health system gave It Is Written permission to use the existing Creation Health Bible program as the foundation for the new studies. Pastors and ministry leaders expect the guides to be an effective tool for witnessing in a more accessible way. The Creation Life Study Guides are available now at itiswritten.com, and in the future will also be delivered through the It Is Written Bible Study app. Advent Health plans to make them available to team members in 2021.
Discovering Jesus, Stories of His Life, His Teachings, and His First Followers is a new resource produced by the South Pacific Division's Discipleship Ministries team to meet the desperate need for more Bibles in the Pacific Islands.
Science Publishing and Tyndale Publishing, who licensed Science New Living Translation for the booklets, partnered with the Discipleship Ministries team to publish the resource containing the books of Mark, John, and Acts.
Thanks to funding approved by the division last fiscal year, 250,000 copies of Discovering Jesus have been printed to be distributed in time for Papua New Guinea for Christ in May. But more Bibles are always needed.
The need is due to explosive growth in Adventism across the Pacific, combined with the fact that Bibles in the Pacific cost, on average, more than 1 week's income.
In addition to Papua New Guinea for Christ and Discover Bible reading groups, Discovering Jesus is intended for tourism evangelism in the Cook Islands and Fiji, with Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander ministries in Australia and in Western Australia for reaching Muslims.
Currently, the training and resources are producing promising results.
Coming up, parents in Russia come together to ensure children get a Christian education.
But up next, the Inter-American Division trains and certifies 17,000 elders.
It was around noon when Peter went up to the roof to pray. It was here that Peter had a vision about a large sheet containing a mix of unclean animals, representing God's affirmation of the diversity of peoples in the growing church.
We had heard that Peter was staying at the house of Simon the tanner and were instructed by Cornelius the centurion to go out and find him.
While Peter was still thinking about the vision, the Holy Spirit told him to go downstairs because 3 men were looking for him. Peter went down and told the men that he was the one they were looking for.
We then told Peter that Cornelius the centurion had been told by an angel that Peter would come and see him at his house. So, unbeknown to Peter, Cornelius was already expecting his visit to Caesarea.
What happened here was quite unusual, just the fact that Peter entered the house. Remember that it was against the law for a Jew to associate with or visit a Gentile.
Cornelius told Peter how 3 days earlier he had been praying in his house when an angel had appeared before him.
Peter shared with Cornelius his new understanding that God does not show favoritism and is the Lord of all. This was a real turning point. From this point on, the gospel was also given among other people groups, and it all started out with prayer and fasting and a vision.
Welcome back.
The Seventh-day Adventist Church in Inter-America celebrated the certification training of more than 17,000 local church leaders across the territory during a special online program on February 15th at the region's headquarters in the U.S. state of Florida.
The online program is an effort to train elders to be effective leaders in their local church and to offset the limited number of ministers available. In the Inter-American Division, one pastor will be assigned to an average of 5 or as many as 24 local churches.
Ministerial Association Secretary for the regions, Josny Rodriguez, said, "We are living, experiencing, and feeling the beginning of the most important transformation of the church as a result of this certification program. We praise God for His blessings."
Rodriguez reminded local church leaders to understand the times and focus on doing better work to protect, guide, and disciple God's church. He reminded church elders to let the Holy Spirit guide them every day in a spirit of humility and unity as they move forward in fulfilling the mission of the church.
Associate Ministerial Secretary for the Adventist World Church, Jonas Arise, introduced a new book that he co-authored with his wife Raquel, titled Joys and Challenges of the Pastoral Family.
Arise highlighted the need for local leaders to see their ministry as a team ministry with their spouses, embracing the calling, knowing their role, enjoying the ministry, and much more. Church elders were also reminded of their role in seeing that membership statistics are accurate and up to date.
The 3-hour online program also featured video reports on outstanding churches across the IAD in evangelism activities, churches making an impact in their communities, and a question and answer session.
Organizers and leaders said their main goal is to ensure church elders are trained and work well together with pastors in teaching, ministering, preaching, and managing at the local level.
Adventist schools play a big role in accomplishing the church's mission around the world.
The number of schools in Russia is also growing, but legal issues connected to the opening of a private school seem to deter many people from trying.
But in Yoshkar Ola, Russia, a group of parents want to give their children Christian education.
The West Russian Union, along with the Adventist Church in Eurasia, sent this report.
Во всем мире адвентистские школы играют огромную роль в осуществлении миссии церкви. В России количество школ также растет, но юридические вопросы, связанные с открытием частной школы, многим кажутся непреодолимыми. В городе Йошкар-Ола группа родителей, желающих дать своим детям христианское образование, организовала школу, которая работает уже несколько лет.
Многие годы мы, родители, горячо молились о том, чтобы в нашем городе открылась христианская школа. 2 года тому назад группа родителей с педагогическим образованием стали думать, как это сделать правильно. И в 2016 году открылась христианская школа. С 1 по 3 класс, 11 учеников. И мы, учителя, стали работать как репетиторы. И все наши дети перешли на домашнюю форму обучения. Каждую четверть наши ученики проходят промежуточную аттестацию, где мы, учителя, проверяем уровень знания. В этом году в нашей школе уже обучается 26 учеников с 1 по 5 класс. И мы сейчас думаем, как дальше нам развиваться. Или нам открыть ИП, как центр семейного обучения, или нам открыть филиал от Нижегородской христианской школы «Исток». Но для всего этого необходимо помещение отдельное, которое бы соответствовало Роспотребнадзору и пожарной безопасности.
За 2 года количество учеников выросло втрое. В 2018 году с 1 по 5 классы в школе обучается 26 человек. Из них 7 детей не из адвентистских семей. Желающих записаться гораздо больше. Основное, что привлекает родителей, это небольшие классы по 6-7 человек, в которых возможен индивидуальный подход к каждому ребенку. Детей кормят завтраками и обедами. До 16 часов возможно нахождение ребенка в группе продленного дня, в рамках которой для детей организуют различные кружки. Привлекает и невысокая стоимость обучения – чуть более 3000 рублей в месяц, при том, что 1 час репетитора в городе стоит 400 рублей.
Мы переехали в этот город из-за христианской школы.
Мы выбрали для нашего первоклассника христианский центр семейного обучения, потому что здесь небольшое количество учеников в классе. Также, когда я прихожу в школу, мне очень нравится смотреть, как дети на переменах общаются между собой. Они все вместе на переменах играют, разговаривают, общаются.
Я люблю эту школу, потому что нас учат добру.
Тут есть общение и хорошие друзья.
Все вкусно кормят.
Большое значение в школе уделяется духовному развитию детей. Каждый урок начинается с молитвы. В расписании есть уроки мудрости и уроки Библии. И еще большее значение имеет атмосфера доброжелательности, внимания и поддержки, что бывает редкостью в обычной школе.
Сегодня церковь уделяет особое внимание развитию адвентистского образования. На территории Евразиатского дивизиона на сегодняшний день открыто более 60 начальных и средних школ, где обучаются около 3000 учеников. Мы верим, что Дух Святой через атмосферу любви, через библейское мировоззрение поможет им сделать самый важный шаг в их жизни – принять Иисуса Христа, обращаясь к каждой общине. Я хочу призвать вас, если у вас есть желание открыть школу, это возможно. Этот путь пройден. Я призываю каждую общину стать частью системы адвентистского образования.
A group of Seventh-day Adventists climbed one of the highest peaks of Isla Española in the Dominican Republic during a recent expedition.
More than 100 young people and adults took part in the trek, which spanned the 52 miles between Armando Bermudez National Park and Pico Duarte, as part of an annual organized event by the Youth Ministries Department of the Central Dominican Conference, Pico Duarte.
At more than 10,000 feet, Pico Duarte is the tallest mountain in the Dominican Republic and the highest peak in all of the Caribbean islands.
Youth Director for the Adventist Church in the Central Dominican Conference, Socrates Payano, said, "We like to take this journey at the beginning of every year to get young people and adults to go back to the basics of living in nature. Get some physical exercise and focus on God, the creator and sustainer of all nature." They all learned lessons on fellowship, leadership, and survival while leaving the noise of the city.
This year's group number 106, the first time more than 100 people participated. Organizers hope there will be even more people for the next year's expedition, which is already scheduled for the third week of January 2021.
During the expedition, which took place last month, participants hiked, took photos, and learned about indigenous floral and fauna. They also learned more about protecting the environment.
Coming up next, we hear from ADRA about the Every Child in School initiative.
But up next, Adventist Mission has a story about how an urban center of influence saved one girl's life.
We may look, pray, read, think, worship, sing, and share differently, but we all look forward to the Sabbath. And we all look forward to the future when Jesus will come again. With this message in mind, we arrived at a core component for a new identity system, the creation grid, a simple 7-column structure for layout. The grid is a reference both to the prophetic timeline as well as to the creation week that culminated in the seventh-day Sabbath. The first 6 columns of the grid belong to the designer. It can be filled with anything: text, images, illustrations, patterns, and logos. But the 7th column, the Sabbath column, does not belong to them. It is meant to be different and special. Regardless of what or where you are designing, you can always find information to help you communicate that we are all Seventh-day Adventists.
Welcome back.
Consuelo was very depressed and even tried killing herself multiple times.
But thanks to an urban center of influence, she was able to turn her life around.
Adventist Mission has more.
I would be dead by now because I tried to kill myself multiple times. I couldn't think of the future. I just thought of the present and what was tormenting me and how I would kill myself.
Deeply depressed, Consuelo abandoned her belief in God. She tried to start over, enrolling in nursing school, and wanting to do something different with her life. But her past weighed on her wherever she went. After class one day, a professor noticed something was wrong and told her about the local urban center of influence. Consuelo visited the center, where she met Michelle and Angie, Adventist volunteers with the 1-year in mission program. She enjoyed talking with them and decided to take a Portuguese course offered here. Over time, Consuelo became friends with the volunteers.
En lo que yo veía, cómo actuaban,
In what I saw, how they acted, what they said, and everything they did, I felt the presence of God in everyone. In the Adventist volunteers who are here, I saw this.
Each time she returned to the center, she felt as if her deep wounds were being healed.
They welcomed me with open arms. I found another family here, another home here.
The volunteers began talking to her about God, and it was the first time in a while Consuelo felt ready to talk about spiritual topics. She asked for a Bible study where she gradually developed a new understanding of and relationship with God.
me ayudó totalmente.
It helped me in every way to be here. I saw the love of God, the grace of God that I hadn't seen anywhere else. I found myself growing closer and closer to God, believing in Him, and having more faith in Him during the time I was here.
Since then, Consuelo was baptized and joined the Seventh-day Adventist Church. She now volunteers her time at the center, doing medical consultations for free. Like Consuelo, there are many who are looking for community and love. But most people are too suspicious of religion to seek these things in a traditional church.
Y muchos de ellos llegan aquí a este lugar con una visión.
Many people come to this place with a vision, maybe a little distrusting because they don't really know what we will ask for afterwards. But when they see a different environment where there is only empathy, love, and friendship, they completely change their vision. They are very grateful and bring more people to participate.
By surveying the community, the Adventists learned what people in the area were interested in. The center runs various classes and activities for the community, including Portuguese and English lessons, healthy cooking demonstrations, crafts, and a variety of exercise classes.
We've seen the effect of Christ's method on people's lives because we see a community today open to the Adventist Church that was not easy to reach in the past. Because when you have your religion, you guard your world, and you don't want anyone to invade your life. The centers of influence are breaking down barriers, not just here, but when we are meeting them at home with their families, and that's where we can apply Christ's method.
Through genuine care for the people, this center has touched the hearts of many in the community. The results have exceeded the volunteers' expectations.
We've seen how this ministry isn't just good for the community, it's also good for the churches. It's reviving the Adventist members. We've had a revival within the church.
Please pray for urban centers of influence like this. Pray that through friendship and compassion, people will see a glimpse of Jesus' love. Thank you for helping us transform lives through your gifts to global mission projects like these.
Watch this and other mission stories online by visiting AdventistMission.org. Then click on videos at the top.
The Every Child Everywhere in School initiative has reached almost 400,000 signatures.
Nicole Watson is here to share how your signature makes a difference and how you can get involved.
Hi, my name is Nicole, and I would like you to participate in the Every Child Everywhere in School social media campaign. The Adventist Development and Relief Agency, along with the Adventist Church, is supporting the cause for primary and secondary education. As I'm speaking, there are more than 260 million children not in school, and that is unacceptable. With your signature, we can help these children. So why a signature campaign? A signature represents your voice, my voice, and collective voices around the world sharing our commitment for education for lawmakers to see. To get involved, go to adra.org/inschool and fill out the petition. Once you've signed, go to facebook.com/joinadra. You'll see this image of our 1 for 10 post at the very top. Share this post tagging 10 of your friends to join the campaign. You can also share on Instagram at instagram.com/ADRA International. Thanks for making your signature count, and let's ensure that we get every child, everywhere, in school.
And finally, for today's episode, let's turn to Ashley Chisholm for a look at Adventist history.
This week, we hear of important Adventist events that took place on leap year.
Welcome to a leap year edition of This Week in Adventist History. On February 29th, 1896, 5 people were baptized in the Adventist congregation in Hamburg, Germany, and 6 French-speaking miners joined the church in the U.S. state of Pennsylvania. 12 years later, on February 29th, 1908, the congregations based in and around the District of Columbia held a joint meeting in a rented auditorium in order to review the progress of the Advent message in the area and to gain inspiration for the constituency meeting planned for March 1st. On February 29th, 1920, James G. Descent opened his spring evangelistic campaign in Louisville, Kentucky, and continued that effort for 3 months. Descent was born in 1879 on Antigua and laid down a legal career for that of a preacher. In fact, he was the first black president in church history elected as president of the Lake Region Conference in 1944. His 49 years of dynamic ministry ended with his death on November 11th, 1954. And finally, on February 29th, 1928, Johann M. Johansen died in Sydney, Australia. Born in Denmark in 1860, he began keeping the Sabbath while living in Tasmania in 1891 without knowing any other Sabbath keepers in the world. But soon he connected with the Seventh-day Adventist Church. He left his work as a cabinet maker to sell Adventist literature and soon oversaw the bookwork in Australia. He then managed the Australian publishing house in Warburton and then became principal of the Australasian Missionary College, a forerunner of today's Avondale College. From there, he and his family went as missionaries to Japan, Korea, and Manchuria, and then back to Australia and the publishing work. He and his wife Faith raised 6 children who all became totally involved in various branches of Adventist church work all over the world. Those stories come from leap days in Seventh-day Adventist history.
Thanks for watching ANN. Join us next week for more news from the headquarters of the Seventh-day Adventist Church.
We'd love to hear from you. Send us your feedback and tell us how your church is making a difference in its community.
And be sure to capture plenty of video footage and photos, then write up a summary of the event's important details. And feel free to send full video reports as well.
You can reach us by sending an email to annvideo11@gmail.com.
Before we say goodbye, here's some good news from the book of 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 9.
The passage says, "But he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore, I will boast all the more gladly about my weaknesses, so that Christ's power may rest on me."
That's our program for this week. And remember, you can always visit news.adventist.org for daily news and videos. Until next time, God bless.
Take care.